back to another What I Eat in a Day video. I am so excited to have you here today and bring you along for my day of eating. Everything today is going to be gluten-free and vegan as usual, but I have like a little bit of a twist to share with you because I wanted to show you the type of meals I make when I'm trying to reset or like detox my system or like give my body a little bit of a break. And I'm really excited to be sharing this video in partnership with Organifi, which is an amazing brand that has a whole line of juice powders as well as protein powders and like a few other great elixirs. So I'm going to be using a few of their products throughout this video, but I also am just going to be sharing about how I personally like kind of look at and think about detoxing and why I choose some of the meals that I choose and the ingredients that I choose and all of that good stuff. So if you do have any questions along the way as you're watching, make sure to drop them in the comment box and let's go ahead and dive in. All right, so the first thing that I now do ever since finding out about Organifi is I start my day with their green juice powder. I just do a scoop of this and I make it into a green juice. And I have this every single morning before I have anything else. So I have water, obviously, in the morning, and then this is the first thing that has like any nutrients or anything that I add into my system. So I've been feeling really great. I really like it. It has so many benefits. It naturally balances hormones, it hydrates, it detoxifies, it alkalizes, so many good stuff. And it tastes really delicious and it has some pretty incredible ingredients. So I'm liking it so far. And I think that this is definitely one of my favorite products of theirs. After my green juice, I make my matcha. So I drink that and then I make my matcha. Today's matcha you've already seen me make before, but I'll show you again because I know you guys like it. So I start with my matcha powder and then I do my monk fruit extract to sweeten, my pumpkin pie spice for flavor, and then my adaptogens today were jasmine tocos and pearl powder. And then I add in some coconut butter, and I blend it up until it is smooth and creamy and delicious. I've actually decided recently to try adding a little less coconut butter into my matchas. I am having some skin issues, so I'm trying to kind of figure out what's at the bottom of it, and I'm still working on it, but if you are interested in following that journey at all, definitely make sure to follow me on Instagram because that's where I'm talking about it the most. All right, so I already filmed my morning for you and you saw me make my matcha, but one of the other things that I've been doing lately is starting my day on an empty stomach with Organifi's green juice powder, and I love it. It is so good. It's really cleansing and detoxifying, and it's actually probably the best green juice powder that I've ever tasted. It has a little bit of monk fruit extract, so it's a tiny bit sweet, but it also has peppermint, it has barley grass, wheatgrass, all of these amazing things. And I personally have been feeling really great. I think it's a really great way to start my day. It's really energizing, it's got tons of vitamins and minerals, and because I'm doing it on an empty stomach, I'm really able to quickly absorb all of those things. So I wake up and I have my water, and then when I'm ready to make my matcha, I make my juice and I have that juice, and then I make my matcha. You guys know how to make my matcha, but I'm still gonna show you anyway. And then for breakfast, I always have a smoothie. I mean, I pretty much always have a smoothie anyway, but the reason why I really like having smoothies is because they are very mineral and nutrient rich, and they're also blended. And when you have food that is blended, like a smoothie or a pureed soup, it's easier on your digestive system and you're more able to not only pass the food through your digestive tract, but also absorb the nutrients. So I'm going to be keeping the morning smoothie kind of low sugar, which I typically do anyway, and it's just gonna include like some of my favorite things. And then I'll check back in with you at lunch and I'll explain what I'm doing at lunch and talk about why I'm doing what I'm doing. So let's go ahead and see breakfast. So keeping things super simple, I'm just using the same jar that I had in my matcha, and I'm gonna add in 2 huge handfuls of spinach for the base. I'm gonna add in some vanilla protein powder. I'm also gonna add in some frozen cauliflower, and then today I wanted to keep it green, so I'm adding in some frozen peaches, and then coconut water and regular water to blend it up until it's smooth and creamy, and that's it. This was such a great smoothie bowl. I topped it with blueberries, granola, coconut, cacao nibs, and chia seeds, and it was delicious and so simple and just so vibrant. I had a lot of green this morning. So on days that I'm giving my system a little bit of a break, I actually also have a blended meal at lunch. I would do this at dinner, but because I have Matt here, that doesn't really work, so I end up making a cooked meal at dinner for us together, which I'll show you later. But I like to have another blended meal at lunch. Sometimes that's a soup and sometimes it's a smoothie. Today it's going to be a smoothie because we're kind of getting into summer and spring and I crave more cold foods this time of year. So I'm going to do a really delicious, super vibrant, antioxidant-rich smoothie for lunch. And a few things that I always try to do when I'm making my smoothies is have a healthy fat in there. So today I'm going to use avocado. I also try to add in some vegetables, of course. So I'm probably going to use a little bit more frozen cauliflower and also some fresh zucchini. And then I'm not going to do greens for this one because I'm having greens at dinner and I already had a huge amount of greens at breakfast. But of course, if you don't have greens in the morning or you're not planning on having greens at dinner, add greens into the smoothie in the middle of the day or in your soup. And then the last thing is protein. So I'm going to be using Organifi's protein here. It's a little bit higher in calories, but it's also going to be much more satisfying and sustaining. And it's full of pure, really great ingredients, organic, vegan, non-GMO, all the stuff that you want it to be. So I'm going to be using the vanilla flavor, and I'm also going to be using another one of their powders in my smoothie, and it's the red powder. And what's really great about this red powder is that it's really naturally energizing and it's super high in antioxidants, and it's also going to make the smoothie just look really vibrant and gorgeous. So I'm gonna add that in with the veggies like I said, and then I'm gonna use berries again. And again, berries are lower on the glycemic index, which is gonna help you balance your blood sugar, and they're also really high in antioxidants. So I think I'm gonna try to keep it red, so I'm gonna probably just use raspberries and strawberries, but you could use any blend of things that you wanted. And then I'm probably just gonna make a giant thing of it in a 32-ounce mason jar and just drink this instead of eating it. I'm having lunch a little bit late, so I feel like I'm gonna be okay transitioning into dinner. If you feel like you're gonna have a long window between lunch and dinner, then you might want to add toppings to make it even more filling. So I'm not gonna do that, but if you feel like you're gonna get hungry, maybe do that. So let me flip you around and show you how I'm gonna make this smoothie. So for the lunch smoothie, I'm using this red juice. It has acai and cordyceps in it. Everything is gluten-free, soy-free, dairy-free, vegan, organic, non-GMO. So awesome. And it's full of some really awesome antioxidant-rich ingredients. And then I'm also gonna add a scoop of their all-in-one vanilla protein mix, and this one has 20 grams of protein. So it's definitely a hefty protein, but I actually really like the flavor of it, and it's got a ton of great vitamins, and it's made from a really great base. So the smoothie itself, I'm gonna add in my chopped up zucchini as well as some avocado, scoop of the protein powder, scoop of the red juice powder, frozen raspberries, frozen strawberries, and then I just used water today to blend because I already used coconut water. So I'm just using water, and then I just popped it on my blender and I blended it up until it was smooth and creamy. And this actually was so delicious. It was kind of tart, it was sweet, it was really zingy. I really, really liked it. And I think that the red juice powder in there helped with that, and actually the protein powder in there as well has a really great texture. So definitely a great smoothie. All right, we're getting to the end of the day and it's time to start prepping dinner. So when I am thinking about resetting or kind of giving my system a little bit of a break, what I try to focus on in addition to the 2 liquid meals is something that is cooked, preferably mostly veggies and kind of easier to digest things. So what I'm gonna do tonight is just make a roasted veggie bowl. I'm gonna roast up some baby carrots. I'm gonna roast up some broccolini. I'm gonna saute some kale. What else do I have? I'm not sure what else is in my fridge, but I'm basically just gonna roast a bunch of stuff that I have in my fridge, and then I will serve it with either a dollop of refried beans, or I'm gonna do roasted chickpeas. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do for the protein, but I try to keep it light. I try to keep it nutrient dense, of course, try to add in greens, try to add in cruciferous veggies, and I try to keep it cooked because I personally find that cooked veggies like this in a big bowl are easier on my system and easier for me to digest. So I think that's pretty much it. You guys have seen me roast veggies before, but this is a meal that Matt and I both really like, and it's really easy and it's really great for meal prep too, which is awesome. So let's go ahead and do it. I love to snack while I make dinner, so I was snacking on crackers and hummus as I was cooking. So there's that, because I wanted to show you everything I ate, so there's that. And then in terms of our bowls, I actually decided to do sweet potato instead of carrot, so I'm just chopping up some sweet potato. And then we're also gonna use some broccolini, which is really fun. It's kind of like a younger broccoli. I don't really know what it is, but it tastes really good. And basically all I did is just trimmed this, and then I added everything onto my roasting pan, drizzled it with some olive oil, sprinkled it with salt and pepper, and roasted this at 425 degrees for about 20 minutes. While I was cooking that, I started my quinoa. So I did a 1/4 cup of quinoa, and then I added in 1/2 cup of water, brought it to a boil, covered it, and let it simmer for about 15 minutes. Then I moved on to the kale, and all I do for the kale is I just remove it with my hands from the stem, and then I use my hands to finally break it up so that it's in more bite-sized pieces. I add it into a skillet, and I add a splash of water, and then I just steam it until it's tender. Then after the kale is sauteed, I move on to my protein. Today I just did chickpeas, kept it really simple, added about 1/3 cup of canned chickpeas into a little dish, sprinkled it with salt, smoked paprika, tossed it all together, and called it a day. Lazy at its finest, but also good. And then the last component of this bowl is a beet. I had these cooked beets in my fridge. You know, they're just like one of those packaged beets, and I wanted to use them up, so I just chopped it up and had it as a side dish. And beets are really great. They're really high, and beets are actually really great for you. So I definitely recommend adding them into your diet if you don't eat them already. And then finally, I made a quick dressing of just tahini and lemon juice. Again, I had a lot of seasonings with the other things, so I just kept it simple here, and I just drizzled it on top. So I found that that was enough for me. You could totally use any sort of dressing that you wanted. And then here is the gorgeous finished bowl. It has the broccolini, the quinoa, the beets, the roasted sweet potatoes, the roasted kale, the chickpeas, the sauce. Came together. It was super delicious, really high in fiber, high in protein, full of nutrients, and easy on the digestive system, which is always a plus in my opinion. Oh, I also just wanted to tell you, I'm probably also gonna have some of this before bed. This is their gold superfood mix, the Organifi gold superfood mix. This has turmeric and reishi in it, and all you have to do is mix it in with hot water. I like to add a little bit of almond milk, but that's it. And it blends up really easily. It tastes really, really good. I like it better than other turmeric lattes that I've had. And it's full of ingredients that are gonna be really great for calming the whole system down. So what I love is that they really have products for like your entire day. Green juice in the morning, red juice or the red powder like middle of the day, this at night, and you're like pretty much covered with all of your amazing superfoods. So if you guys are interested in checking out Organifi, I highly recommend it. Their products are really, really great. You can get 15% off by clicking the link that is right below this video, and that will be applied at checkout. And I recommend that you pick up either one of their like bundle packs, which is a good way to save, or if you're just trying to try specific products, I definitely recommend the green juice. I like the protein powder, and I really like the gold. Those are probably my 3 favorite products of theirs. So check it out, and if you have any questions, like I said in the beginning, make sure to drop them down below. And I think that's it for now. I don't know if I'm gonna do a sign off because I feel like I just kind of signed off, so I'll just say bye here, and then I'll show you the turmeric latte at the end of the day. And otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys. All right, and then last but not least is the golden latte. I just used a scoop of the gold powder, added it into my little frother, topped it with water. I would also use almond milk, but I didn't have any, and I just let the frother thing do its thing, heats up, and that's it. Really simple, but actually really delicious. This doesn't need anything else, which I love. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to subscribe if you are not yet already part of our community. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and thanks so much for watching.